Is it working today? Hey! Get everything lined up right. Get everything lined up right. Yay! There we go. Hey, good morning, artists. Happy Friday. We're working today. So I don't know if something was going on with my phone or the computer or the internet or Twitch, but something was happening and streaming did not happen. Unfortunately, my phone was telling me that I was streaming. My computer was telling me I wasn't. So I was trusting that maybe my phone knew what it was talking about, but my computer didn't. And the result was I ended up working for about 20 minutes talking to you guys, and there was actually nobody there listening. So, oops. So it's going to look like I did a whole bunch of work without you. I apologize. Once I realized we weren't streaming, I'm like, I'll save it. I want them to see what's going on with my secret neighborhood project. So we'll be continuing on that today. First off, it's Friday. You've got work due. Make sure that you are turning in your iProject and your home study packet. A couple of you have asked me if you can have some more time. Please make sure that if you are turning anything after the due date that you are sending me a message and letting me know. That includes for those of you still turning in your landscape projects from last week. If you turn something in late, you need to try and make sure to send me a message along with your artwork. There's usually an area where you can make comments, just to make extra sure that I have seen it and that I have put your grade in for it. So I will still check it, but just to be extra safe, to make sure that I get the project, send me a message, okay? It's a lot easier when we're face to face because you can actually hand it to me and I can put it in a spot so I know where it is so I can grade it. Online it's a little bit different. So you guys got to help me take a little extra step and make sure that you let me know that you have turned something in so that I can go back and make sure to get it. So hopefully by the end of today, all of your stuff will be updated, your grades will be in, and we'll know kind of where we stand right now, okay? In the meantime, so here's what you missed yesterday. I started it a little bit on Wednesday, where I showed you guys I've been collecting some different little rocks that I found from around the neighborhood, not taking from anybody's yard. These are not any landscaping things. Most of them are ones that I found that had got like knocked into the street or were from parts of the road maybe that had fallen apart, and I started painting them. So this is the one I had started painting yesterday. Beautiful little blue color. And the one that I had started on Wednesday is pretty far along. I think he's probably almost done other than his eye. So we're going to be finishing up these guys and hopefully starting some more. Didn't get quite as far along as I wanted to because of stream problems yesterday, but the goal being that I would like to be able to start hiding these around the neighborhood a bit and give the kids who are taking walks with their families or even just the adults something fun to kind of spot while they're doing it. So let's turn it around here and get to the art. We'll see once the computer has a chance to catch up. Hey, okay. So that was an adventure. Looked like it died right when I was switching views, so we didn't miss too much other than time. It might mean looking into a better phone, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so as we were trying to talk about several times now, I kind of talked a little bit about we were using these acrylics before. Turns out they're not only very nice acrylics, they're a little more permanent. I've had little bits of them still hanging on me since yesterday. Not the end of the world, though, to end up with paint on you. So let's continue working on, we're going to finish up this little creature. Get some paint ready. We're going to need some black. We're going to need some white. I'm going to get a little bit of this yellow back, since we were using it in his eye. And gonna get a tiny bit of orange in here too. We'll probably end up using more orange for one of the other creatures in a bit. Okay. Getting a little bit more yellow back on the eye here because I want to add a little bit of this orange in here. Can't remember now what I talked about yesterday versus what we talked about on Wednesday. So if I end up repeating myself a little bit, I apologize. But even when I'm working with paint, this is similar to when I'm working with colored pencil. I want to mix colors. I want to add different colors together. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer even. I'm sure you guys would rather see more detail of the paint going on than of all the paint around me. But I like to mix and layer so it's not just one solid color holding the whole thing together. It gives a little more depth to your artwork to mix it up. Clean up the brush. I'm gonna get a little bit of some black. Steady hands there. Look how cute his eye is now. I always feel like no matter what the shape of the rock is and how you handle it, if you get the eye looking cool, that does everything. There are dogs running around above me. I don't know how well you guys heard that, but that was a big bang. And a little dot of white just for a little reflective highlight. There we go. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll give it a little bit of time, and we'll put a little something on the back. Something to just kind of signify that these are all going to be related little creatures. So there he is. Came up pretty cute. So this was one I had painted up some yesterday. Starting with a dark blue with a little bit of green in it, and then using a lighter blue to go over it. I think we need to add one more little layer of lightness. So let's get some of our blue, just a bit. And we'll make a new little pile of white. I want this to be super light, so barely touched the blue there. And again, the trick for going over and painting rocks and such is to use a really light touch and very little paint, because you want to show the texture of the rock. That should be the focus on there. So I'm going over all the higher areas to help those to stand out a little bit more. This one actually reminds me a little bit of one of the rocks I have in my front yard. It was actually made to have a little face on it. You can't see it yet? You see the face happening? All right. So let's start off. Use a little bit of black just to kind of outline the area where his eye is going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's work today. We got the eyeball project that's due. A couple people have already been turning that in. That's been really nice. Getting to see some of the creativity that everyone's been doing. Been some really cool ideas happening. Makes me glad to know that even during these crazy times, that you guys can still get artistic and creative and find that kind of beauty and art inside you. That you can still bring that out. And I've heard from a couple parents too saying that their students have enjoyed doing some of the work, and I'm glad. Try to keep things interesting. Which I'll be posting up a little notice today too, letting you guys know. Next week we're going to be doing, we're having some fun. We're going to do something kind of sculptural. So we're going to change things up a little bit. So if you're listening in now, you're going to want to start saving up some things like toilet paper rolls, old pieces of paper, even if it's just like old junk mail envelopes, advertisements, newspapers, stuff like that. So we're going to be using it, and we're going to do some 3D artwork. Not everything is going to be just drawn. Looking pretty cute, looking pretty cute. So I gotta be careful because chances are this didn't completely dry yet, but let's see if I can get at least this coating on, and then I have to let it dry before doing the middle of the eyeball. Usually I like to find an area that's popping out a little more to do the eye with, just so that the eyeball itself can kind of come out looking rounded. But the shape on this one was just too good. You already had that kind of little face happening. It's got a little droopy eye on this side though. We'll call him Quasi, for Quasimodo. He's got a little bit of that hunchback look to him. So, weeks ago, I had started doing some little comic book style characters on the stream and showing you guys how I was doing, how to do that old Japanese style of comic book shading, where you'd have like a sticker and you'd have to cut the sticker out to fit in certain areas. And I've been working on that, and it's coming along pretty well. So I'll have to show you guys that once we finish up. Alright, so he's going to take a little break so his eyeballs can dry. Let's get another one. So this is another piece that looks like it came from part of a road, since one side is super flat. And the rest is a bunch of, just a mix of rocks. Let's go with, I'm going to back up just a tad. We're going to make this one red. Probably need a little bit more than that. It's a bigger rock. So some red, and I'm going to mix in with it, probably let's go with the darker brown. Get my big brush. And I think what we're going to do too is we're going to steal just a tiny bit of this blue. Because mixing that with the red will give us a little bit of a violet kind of shade. Help to darken it without necessarily having to add black. Black can be fine to add for doing shadows and whatnot, but it can be so strong and just kind of will take the color tone away. So if you mix it, your colors with another color to get it like lighter and darker, it just makes the whole thing feel a little bit stronger, like the color is stronger. It's a nice color. Now this paint can be pretty thick. The nice thing about acrylic is that you can add water to thin the paint. You just want to be very careful about how much of that you're doing, because you don't want the paint too thin. If it becomes too watery, then it just loses itself a little bit. Sorry if the focus is a little bit weird for me having it stand up like this. I want you guys to see what I'm doing. Work into all those tiny spaces. So yesterday my sister and I suited up and we braved the store again. We'll get some more food. I feel like we're doing pretty well in terms of managing to last for nearly 2 weeks anytime we go. I think it's like about, each time it's been about like 12 days, I think, in between our store visits. We're being very careful still. We're both wearing masks the whole time. And as soon as we get back, we pretty much throw the clothes in the wash just to be safe. Jump in the showers. It's still so uncertain, you know? But better to take extra steps and be safe than not, right? So I hope all of you guys are still being really careful too. I know it's got to be rough. I know some of you probably are dying to be able to see friends and hang out with them. Hopefully you're doing lots of live chatting with each other. Going on your Snapchats, your TikToks. I feel like there's going to be a whole ton of new memes and TikToks and content and stuff, and I'm just missing all of it. Because, you know, I really depend on you guys to let me know when there's a new trend up. So, like, when we were getting out of school, everyone was still doing the Renegade dance. Is that still a thing? Is Renegade now over? What's the new one? I feel like there's going to be more people coming up with new ones since all we're doing is sitting at home. Maybe I should get a TikTok. I've been told that if I had a TikTok, I would probably have a ton of followers. But I feel like that's only so that the kids say that just so that they could follow me and make fun. I don't know all my skills. I bet I'd surprise him. It's a very interesting shape happening here. I'm not sure where it's going yet, though. He's not being very obvious about having any features yet. That will probably change once we start adding some lighter tones. Okay, so dark tones done. Gonna get some more red. And this time we're gonna mix it with like a red orange, vermilion. And let's sneak in, we'll just steal what's left of our yellow up here for now. I don't think we'll need the yellow anytime soon. Clean off the brush. Stealing that leftover yellow. So same reason I will only rarely add white. Same as when you add black. It tends to take away some of the color. It makes things a little less bold. And I like my bold colors. And don't get me wrong, adding the black and white is fine. That's how we get pastels. But pastels tend to have a certain feel to them. When you make something pastel, it automatically feels gentle, you know? That's why we use it for babies. It's light, it feels almost see-through in a weird way. So I try to be careful about when I use white to lighten things up. If I can use another color, I'll tend to with that. That's why this little green guy is using different shades of green and no white, and he's a lot stronger color. But then our blue guy, we did use white to make him lighter, and he kind of has a little more of a pastel-y look to him. I don't know if pastel is a real word. It works. When you add black to something, when you add white, we call them pastels. Their proper term is called a tint. When you add black to something, it's called a shade. I don't really have anything for shades. I mean, I suppose you could say it's a little bit gothic or a little bit emo, but even then, emos tend to use just black, and then we'll use bright colors to kind of offset it a little bit. I'm going to get a little more yellow in here. Tea break. Today we got lemon tea again. It's Just felt like I needed... It's kind of funny because, you know, I'll put a little bit of sugar in mine. And when you add a little bit of sugar to lemon tea, it kind of tastes like Fruit Loops. In a great way. Being very careful about our color layering on this one. Whenever you use yellow like this on top of red, it always has a fire feel to it. It's a little bit lava-like, which is fine. I don't mind a fiery character. Sorry about that. In order to get the stream working, I had to borrow my sister's phone. Get all logged in that way. My phone was being a butthead. But forgot to then turn off her alerts. So apologies if you get other little singing sounds that pop up. Alright. Surface is looking pretty good. Gonna get just a tiny bit more yellow. Just want to get in a couple more little areas, just a little bit lighter. Alright, we're going to let him dry a little bit. So I kind of talked about this yesterday to myself, about how it's good for a project like this to have a couple different ones going at a time. Because while one is drying, then you can work on another one, and you don't waste your paints. Since we've got all this red, let's just go ahead and give him some nice red eyes. I always like to have a little fun with the eyes, and especially try and not have them be the same color as the body. It just helps to make them stand out a little more, and especially when you're working with a natural object like a rock, where you might see a face in it, but other people might not. So it's real important to make sure that you kind of exaggerate things a little bit. Which is why I put the outline around the eyes. Like they're all wearing fabulous eyeliner. It's gonna look like he got punched, and he's got a swollen eye on one side. Our little Quasi. And the other day I was watching a YouTuber talking about the Marvel movies and how everything has gotten pushed back. Like, Black Widow was supposed to come out this spring, but they've decided to push it back to the fall rather than trying to do like an online only release. They want to wait and get it into theaters, and which I'm glad for. Unlike so many, I do not have Disney Plus. I know, right? But when I have a movie that I like, I tend to just get it on Blu-ray, DVD. And I like it because then I have it. It's sitting there with me. I don't have to worry about if the internet dies. In fact, it's almost better. When the internet goes out, oh, well, I guess I'll just put on a movie. Now, our other guy was kind of lizardy. So he's going to have those lizardy, slit, kind of snake pupils. But you, my friend, are not a lizard. You have nice round pupils. He's got the weirdest little smile happening. A little white dot just helps give it a little bit of a reflective look. Makes them look like they're nice little damp eyes. Bam, back to our rock. Okay. Little blue guy's going to wait now. Little Quasi's going to wait now. Alright, so I see something that's going to, I think, work for an eye. That would definitely be an interesting way to go. I think we're going to go this way, though. So there's this nice big bump right here. It has a great shape for an eye. And then right on the end here, this looks like a nostril. So I have two kind of lines happening here. I've got one really down low, which would be a very low kind of mouth. Or I can go right along. There's a little bit of an edge there that could work. Or I bring the mouth even higher. And he's got this really big kind of crocodile mouth, which I think is what we're going to go for. I think if the mouth was too low, it wouldn't quite look as, it wouldn't look quite right. Fits pretty well with this part too. There's like a natural little dent right here that works good, like a little separation. There he is. I think once we get the white in here too, it's really gonna pop out. It kind of looks like a goldfish cracker. Are we gonna call you Goldie? All right. Your eyeball must now dry. Whoa. So, one more set aside. Let's go with you. I like this side, I think. It's got a very nice set of little stones and stuff. I think we can have a little fun with that. There's a flat spot here that I can already see working for an eye. Let's see. Got a green one, got a blue one. Let's make this one a little more orangish. We'll mix it right in with this red though for our darker tone. So this one won't have any brown mixed in. This is just going to be our Viridian reddish orange color, using up what's left of the other dark red. So already he's going to have a bit of a lighter tone than our last one. There it goes again. I told you. I told you we'd be getting those. There we go. Alright, so now I want you to have a little different color. What color are you? This is a yellow. It's called yellow or ochre, which is this kind of darkish yellow. Use a little bit of that. A little bit of that lemon yellow. Lemon tea time. It's chilly down in the basement, so my tea cools a lot faster. Okay, again, just a little bit on the brush. Don't want too much. This brush needs to be a little bit drier. A little too much water on it. So the reason I start adding this lighter color on here before it's even dry, I like that it will mix in with the base paint a little bit. It just helps the transition a little more to let them blend. I guess if you wanted it to have a stronger difference, could go in with after it's dry, but maybe I'm a little bit impatient too. It's a fun project to do, to create these little critters. But I think if it took too long to make each one, I don't know that I'd be quite as into it. I mean, the nice thing about it is that it's very kind of low stress. Since you're not doing the sculpting yourself, since you're not actually building the creature, you're more of highlighting what's already there. There's a lot less pressure at making it look like a certain thing. Like I'm not trying to make a dragon. I'm not trying to make a fox. I'm trying to just kind of highlight. It's almost like, in a weird way, it's almost like a coloring book. It's like you don't have to do the thinking on it. You're just kind of enjoying adding the color in. We're going to start a book now. Coloring Rocks. Your rock coloring book. Monthly subscription. Every month we send you a rock. Alright, so just comparing, it is a little bit lighter. We just will make sure that we don't place them too close to each other when we hide them out on our walk. Let's scoot you, bring you back, work on your eyes. You're going to need green eyes, I think. Bright green. But of course, you can't have just one color, so let's see. Oh, did you dry already, blue? I was hoping maybe it wasn't quite dry all the way yet. A little dry. Mix enough water in it. It's coming up a little. So remember, can't have just one color. Gotta mix them. So we're gonna have this fiery red goldfish character with these soft baby green eyes. I love it. He's looking a little dubious though. Like, man, I don't know. I'm not too sure here. We won't give him too big of a pupil. I mean, come on, it's pretty funny looking. And our little white highlight. He's looking pretty good. How dry are you? Getting there. You're good enough to get the next step at least. We'll go a little bit over time today since the stream got interrupted for a while. I'm seeing the eye going right here. This one, even more than the others, feels like it has a very dinosaur type head. That black paint's already trying to dry up on me. So acrylic tips, since acrylic is a water-based paint, meaning that if you add water to it, it'll thin. It means that if your paint starts to dry, you can add some water to it to help liquefy it again. It works pretty well. It depends on how far along your paint gets. If it's only just starting to dry, then you can usually mix in water and everything's okay. If it starts getting a little bit plasticky, then it probably won't work quite as well. Mine is getting right on the verge of water is not going to help. The black part is anyway. That's a nice shape. I'm trying not to block the light for you guys. There you go. So if that's the eye, that makes this the snoot. It's gonna make this the mouth. Create that line just a little bit around. Sorry if that's dark. Not too bad. All right. Let's see. Let's give this one ring steel just a tiny bit of blue. It might not be fully dried yet, but this blue is dark enough that it should be okay. We can finish this one off. We'll be in pretty good shape. We'll have 4 done. Look at that. Some beautiful blue eyes. Like me. This is now my spirit animal. Most definitely lizard. Oh, that's super watery. No. Suck some of the water back up. If you use too much water, you can dry off your brush and then touch it back to the paint. And hopefully it'll grab some of that. My black paint was just getting so watery. Yeah, it's too watery. We're gonna need a little bit more black on the... I didn't want to have to do it, but you're gonna make me do it. Just a touch. Don't want to waste. The surface is all watery now, so it's just kind of slip sliding around on top of it. That's alright, it's still gonna work. Is there enough white left now? Ooh, there's a little water trying to sneak on there to stop it. Taking a totally dry brush that I haven't used yet just to try and touch it to the water that got on there. Just too impatient, guys. I wanted to get them done for you. There she is. She's beautiful. All right, let's get everybody in for a picture. This little blue quasi is gonna just crack me up. Ta-da! There they are. Not too bad for 2 days. So next week, Monday, we're going to be continuing with a new assignment. It'll probably be kind of the same schedule that we've been on, where we'll have a day or two of working together to build something, to do the art together. And those will go up on Classroom as instructions. And then afterwards, we'll do a little more fun. I'm not sure. We'll mix it up a little bit. Maybe we'll do some character drawing. We'll do some more rock stuff. We'll switch it up. In the meantime, I'm off for the weekend. You guys have a good weekend. Stay safe. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of sunlight. We can get outside. Maybe take a walk. Maybe find some cool little rock creatures. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see you guys then. Take care. Bye-bye.